Welcome to Pro NoCoders Office Hours, episode 291. I'm your host, Cameron, and I'm here with Ben, Michael, Zdinko, Thomas, and Tanya. Looks like Alexandria just joined us as well. Before we get started, if this is your first time doing this, where you're tuning in and you're watching us, we invite our members onto this Zoom where they can ask bubble questions, bugs, give us feature requests, so on. We can't promise answers, but we do promise you won't suffer alone. We get it right most of the time, so we'll go ahead and get started. Who had the first question? Was it Michael, if I'm right? Tanya, is that who you said?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. I just had to double check. Had to consult the resources. All right. So what are we doing?
All right. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me stop sharing.
Okay. So I have this sign up form, and in it has an address, and I have the field set to can't be empty. And if it's set that way, I can't save the form, and I get this error message saying the geocoding service cannot connect to the service. And so I've redone the APIs. Yeah, I can get it to save to the database if I take off this can't be empty check.
So for the address, we're using the Google API to basically just validate this address.
Yes.
Okay. Trying to think. Interestingly enough, I know that sometimes, especially with the Google API, the billing account has to be enabled. Very, very silly, because if all your API keys are set up and should be authenticating and be as valid as they possibly could be, sometimes it can break down to something as simple as that, where it's just really the billing account needs to be updated. Otherwise, have we tried this on a different browser or on a incognito window to see maybe if it's something else?
No, I did not. Okay. And by the way, it's not live, it's just in test.
Yeah, no worries. Is it just that address in particular, or is it all addresses?
That's next door.
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting. It's not showing anything.
So we're not getting, I hate to do this. It doesn't look like we have the debug mode on.
Oh, shit.
But with that said, though, if it's not autofilling, typically this is because of that authentication isn't being passed in correctly or anything. Can we go to the plugin and just see if we can see anything? Maybe. I don't believe it's super in depth. It's sort of like a drag and drop, and you just link your keys, right, and that's it.
I'm sorry. Where do you want me to go?
Go to your plugins. So right above your settings there. Yep. And
Which one? This one?
Whichever we're using to pull the address. Is that just the Google one then?
We're using we're just using, right now it's just in the settings. So is there a plugin we should be using instead?
Just
Or in
No,
addition?
No, I was just simply under the assumption that we were using a plugin with that as well. I'm curious. So for your address field, how are we validating that with Google? What are we linking? Do you mind showing me how that logic's set up?
Sure. Oh. Well, that's a good question.
Well, so when right now it's just saving it, like we're saving the input. Is the input set to be a geographic address? I think it should be. And we could just double check that.
Oops. Address.
It's set up as an address. Okay. Yeah. That's really curious. And it's saying that the address in this case isn't working. It's not letting you actually click that next button.
Right.
So there's really nothing too crazy going on apart from us saying, nope, this shouldn't be empty, basically.
And if I take that off, I can save it, but which is the weird thing.
Yeah, that really is strange. I'm trying to think of the way. Is there like a particular syntax for the address that needs to be filed in, or Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. This is really strange.
Oh, good. I'm so glad, Cameron, because I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Well, no, it just definitely is like, we're just wanting to save it as a just. If we save that as a text, not that we'd want to, but do you get the same error, or is it really just the address?
I haven't tried that as text.
Okay, because the content format is address, and I wonder if the content format. I mean, obviously, we want it to be address, but I'm wondering if this error is present. Sometimes Tony can tell you a bubble can be weird to where when you get rid of an input field and you draw it back in, you won't get the same errors.
Okay.
So weird things like that.
We can also go with like maybe finding a plugin, because maybe the plugin itself, if we use the plugin to search and find an address, maybe it will recognize it as not being empty in that input. So I've never done that. I'm just suggesting that might be a way around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find one.
I'm going to pop into the other room with Ben and Alexandria. I will be back.
Gotcha.
If I don't see you when I get back, Michael, have a good night.
Thank you. You too, Tanya.
Okay, let me see here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to be looking on the plugins here for an address picker. I know that there was one that was really, really good. That was free. At least I had thought. So I'm actually seeing that the Google one that I was going to recommend is not free. It is $5 a month or $50 once. All right, I imagine you're trying to stay on the free side of things.
Yeah.
If
Eventually,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because there's always the opportunity to do a paid plugin. But here, so what I want to do, I want to try and replicate this as closely as possible on my end. And so what you do is you have basically just an address field or a field set to the content format of address. Here, I'll share my screen. It shouldn't be empty. And then we want to not do a group, but we want to do a button. And when we click this button, we are going to create a dummy. We are going to say that the text is going to equal this value. Address. Okay, and you probably had it set up was slightly different. Did you have a conditional on that button? Or is it just like this actually?
Oh, pretty much just like that.
Just like that. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
With the button. And do you want to give me that address that you had? Because you were typing out a full address. You put the Zoom chat. Oh yeah, or say it.
Whatever works for you. 190 Anthony Street, East Providence.
Providence?
Yep. Rhode Island. RI. 02914.
02914?
Yep.
Okay. So I know you put a period right here. Did that change it? Probably not. No.
And I spelled East out. I don't know if that makes a difference.
This is what we're looking for, and it saves it on our end. And I don't think it's anything to do with the keys that you have set up in your settings, wherever those would be hiding right here. I don't think it's going to be because we're not actually using them at the moment. This is really just sort of getting a form, passing in an input, and then allowing us to submit.
Okay.
So my next recommendation, so two things. I would try to remove the field that you currently have and to place it back.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, I would recommend on a new page, sort of like a sandbox test page, seeing if you can copy what you have created without copying, actually, sort of just like looking at it and saying, I want this here, so on and so forth. And seeing if you can sort of navigate around that issue, or if it replicates itself. Because if it replicates itself, that would be pretty strange, but I think that would give us a better idea as to there may be something wrong logically elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting though. I know that Tanya was laughing. I don't think I've seen this one before, so very curious. But yeah, let me know how that goes.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah, definitely. We have Zidinko. You were here. You have a question for me.
Yes. Should I be able to share my screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. All right, can you see it?
I can, yep.
Okay. Here I have a repeating group that is a repeating group of dispatches. Inside of this repeating group is another repeating group, a nested repeating group that has a type of content of truck. So two different contents. The dispatch itself in this repeating group is dispatches to the drivers of the trucks, the dispatch information, like start time, finish time, and all of this on the left side. And once it's dispatched, the drivers respond back and either accept, deny, or don't do anything in return. The dispatch is done through a backend workflow to send the emails to them, and they also reply by confirmation email back. And so once they reply, they either accept or deny, or they have two choices. And here, the ones that have accepted the dispatch, I'll be able to remove the trucks out back into this position here where they'll be able to dispatch again. The ones that haven't accepted it. However, I'd like the ones that when I add a new truck in here, that truck has not been dispatched yet. So I'd like to be able to email them individually as opposed to all at once. And I've created a pop-up here. However, I'm not sure if I can do it this way, since this repeating group has the content of truck, and I need to incorporate the dispatch that this cell sells dispatch to only one particular truck. Would this be possible the way I'm doing it? Because I believe the pop-up can only take one type of contact at the time. Am I correct?
Yeah, I want to make sure that I understand this correctly. So you have these nested repeating groups. You have this looks like the job site, right? And these are the trucks that are being dispatched to the job site. Is that correct?
Correct. These are the trucks that are being dispatched, yeah, to this job site and
so
this materials, so forth.
And you're saying that if you want to add a new truck, so initially when this is loaded through a backend workflow, you email these 3 trucks immediately, right?
Correct. Well, I press this button and then it emails them.
Okay. However, you want to add a truck manually and then be able to email them individually. Is that right?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, let's say this truck here. Like I'll show you. So I can add this truck. So the truck is here, but it has not been emailed because all of these trucks, the 3 on top, have been emailed already. So what I'd like to do with the truck that I've added here, I'd like to be able to email this dispatch to this truck, the newly added truck.
Yeah, that definitely sounds doable. So we're just trying to send so I know that we're looking at trucks. We want to be able to send them this job site.
Yeah, the dispatch info to this particular truck, not to all of the trucks at once.
Yep. Okay. So
because
go ahead.
This is a list of trucks. The dispatch contains a list of trucks as one of the fields. This record here, the dispatch record, contains all these trucks that are nested here in this repeating group as part of the field.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to your the back end here. Or the front end, actually. Let's look at this logic. So the data source for this, when we click that particular email button and we're displaying this pop-up, it should be through a back-end workflow. Not a back-end workflow. I'm sorry, just a regular workflow.
Yes, it just displays the data of that particular truck. Yeah.
Yep. Can you show me that?
Sure. All right. Here. So it displays data in the pop-up. Parent group's truck, which is this truck. Only one truck instead of a list of trucks.
Gotcha. And so at this point now we need to send an email. So
yeah.
What we'd be doing is when a particular button is clicked, then we would trigger an email.
So then when this button email is clicked, which is in the pop-up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and send an email. Let's go ahead and create an instance where we send an email. Right on that new action.
The email needs to go through a backend workflow. Well,
I see. Okay, so we need to pass in information about this particular
dispatch, right? We need to
okay,
send the dispatch information.
Not that crazy. Well, then we just want to set that up then. So instead of sending an email, we'll schedule a workflow to start. Because ultimately the email that we're going to find is instead of be searching for that truck, because we have the truck's information, that's awesome. We also know the dispatch that it's coming from. We need to look for the dispatch that includes the truck, and then we'd isolate that truck and that truck's email address. And that's the way that we'd be sending it. So we're not necessarily searching for from what I'm understanding.
Okay. Oh, you want to search for it, but we already have it in the same, it's in the same cell.
Okay, so it seems like there's multiple things that we may be able to do then, including using an intersect function, which basically compares 2 lists and says, oh, if this list and this list have the same information, it'll return only the results or only basically the items that are the same.
All right.
So we want to pass it to a backend workflow, and I guess we could. Is there a reason why we wouldn't be able to do that
Should
on the
I?
front end?
Okay, here, this is what it, this is the workflow that schedules an API workflow on the list, on the repeating group list, which is
Yeah,
which is
yeah. And that makes sense if we're passing in multiple things. A backend workflow would make
multiple,
sense.
right, right. But
But
I
if
only
we're,
want,
yeah,
I was
if we're
wondering
only
if I can
sending
do
one email,
Mhm.
yeah. So we don't need a backend workflow. From what I'm understanding, we should just be able to do one regular send email action.
Well, no, we should, because there's a finish time that at finish time, the back end workflow changes the status of the truck back so that it can be dispatched again, right?
So, okay, so the way that this backend workflow should be set up then is that each time a new truck is added,
Mhm.
then this workflow runs. But I don't think that it needs to run when we're emailing this individual. So each
Yes,
time
sure.
each time that a truck is added, what it's going to do on the backend workflow
Mhm.
is it's basically going to say, hey, in 12 hours, all of these trucks that have been added into this list, we'll take them off this job. Right. So that's if we include Amico 711, even
Right.
after, right? It's just triggered every single time we we add a truck.
Sure.
But when we're sending an email to one particular individual, we won't need a backend workflow because we can, to my knowledge, reference this dispatch's information, right?
All right. I was hoping to do that, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you'll have to construct something to where when a truck is added from the choose trucks, you know how you're clicking around and you're adding it. That's when it triggers a particular, when we update dispatch right there, we should trigger a workflow. However, when we click the email button, just for one individual, we should not need to use a backend workflow.
Okay.
All the information should still be here on this page. So what we would do, if you don't mind going back to your backend or to your workflow section for me.
Okay.
And let's go to that button where when we do say send email. So let's go ahead and create an email instance and let's just see if we can do this.
All right. Send email.
That's right. Yep. And so now we needed to figure out who it's going to, right?
Yeah, we go to parent group's truck driver.
That should be exactly it.
Parent group's driver.
Then we'd select email. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Cool. Okay. So now in the body, this is where we're going to want to include the pertinent information. So the load type and so on and so forth. So let's see if we can do that.
All right.
What we're going to do, instead of searching for the truck, because that's what we have in reference, we have the parent group, we're going to instead insert dynamic data right there. And so now we're going to do a search for. And now we're going to search for a project that exists that includes this truck. Because as you had said, I think it was dispatch, you said the dispatch is going to include the list of trucks active on this.
Right.
So now we're going to be searching for the dispatch, right? So click dispatch there. And the constraint will be that that truck list contains parent group's truck.
Okay. Dispatch and the no, yeah, but we don't have this because the dispatch record contains a list of trucks.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not, we're going to be comparing that versus a list.
All right. It contains two different lists of trucks because they can be own trucks, their own company's trucks, and also the other company's trucks. So this is the problem. Yeah.
Okay. So two ways of going about this. What we should be able to do is add a filter where we ignore empty constraints. But in addition to that, one of the simpler things, I think, in terms of achieving that it works every single time and we don't have to worry about it maybe not working, is creating a new record type called combined or joint or something of the sort, where now we're adding all of the lists together. And that could be performed on the backend workflow where the very last step is make a change to this dispatch where joint trucks equals shared dispatch trucks plus owned trucks. So that would be the solution though, because what we want to do is we want to compare the list.
Mhm. Okay, here, we got all the trucks here anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, this list contains all the trucks, which include both
Okay. Perfect.
shared and, all right, so contains.
Yeah.
sharing group
Contains.
truck.
That's exactly it. Yep.
Okay,
So now the dispatch is going to be the first item.
first item, okay.
And let's say we're trying to send them the material. We just select material here.
All right,
And so now what we're doing is we're searching for the dispatch that they exist in. And we're saying at this point, this is the material. And this is what we'll use across the board for everything. So materials, job site, et cetera, et cetera.
all right. But we wouldn't be able to send the whole dispatch, would we?
No, this is just going to, because we're sending it into a to, in the to field up above where we're actually creating the email.
Right,
So we're just sending it to that dude right there.
yeah,
But the information that we're sending with it is going to be the material that they are in, basically. Does that make sense? They're in this dispatch. This
yeah,
is the material.
of course, but would we be able to send, once we searched for the dispatch, would we be able to send the whole dispatch?
Yes, however, it is going to be a very manual process just like this. So you would
Okay.
create in this email using
Yeah.
that expression.
Right,
Just
okay,
duplicate
okay.
it.
So let's just try it with material name, and then I can create the body.
Yep, yep. And that's the way that you're going to do it there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it definitely is a little bit more simple, I think, than you were anticipating, and I'm glad we were able to deliver that solution for you.
Yeah, sure. This will work then. Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Um,
Cool. I'm gonna go hop on to Adam, and then if you still have questions and you're still around, we can revisit you.
yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
All right, Adam, I imagine you have a question for me about, let me guess, upload care.
Yep.
All right, cool. Not a problem. Let me go ahead and share my screen for you.
Cool.
I say that preemptively because I have an awesome thing to show you.
Oh, great.
So I spent some time trying to figure out how this works, and well, we've made some good progress. So what I'm going to do real quick here, because we just added this dummy, I'm going to delete it. Okay, so before we start, just want to show you everything that we have done. So we have a couple separate elements here. We have this JavaScript to bubble. We have the actual HTML JavaScript. We have a button that says click me. I don't think we actually need this button, to be completely honest. We can get rid of it for now. We have then this text JavaScript to bubbles value list. And then last but not least, inside our settings, we have the SEO. Let me see, where is it? Yes, SEO meta text. We have this basically JavaScript from their CDN for upload care. This is all the functionality. So what we're going to do is we're going to instantiate something like this, this sort of JavaScript to bubble element, and we're going to use that inside the JavaScript. Now, let me show you it actually work before I get into sort of details.
Cool.
I'll go ahead and add my cheese ball and a logo of a brand. So we can see these two items here. Go ahead and click add, and now nothing actually populates down here. Because the way that it was set up is sort of weird. If it was a singular item, it typically would show up. But regardless, you can see the two items are uploaded here. Sweet. So what we have done is we said, when we upload these, we want to take them and we want to save them here.
Okay.
Cool. So now we can actually save our information into the database, right?
Yep.
But
That's
how do
awesome.
we do that? So when the page is loaded, we're actually going to have something run here. And this is the code that we originally trying to experiment with, where we're actually putting everything in the console. This line down here was normally where it printed its console.log file info, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Well, what you can see here is this bubble FN URLs. I'm actually using JavaScript to bubble, and I've created a function. So just a way to capture this information, basically, and then publish it so we can use it inside bubble. And so I've just changed a little bit around, and here we are there. And then this is to display the information. It was originally, actually. And I said, well, why do I need to do that when I can actually just take the current cells dummies text and have it displayed in a repeating group? So we actually don't need this. And you can see here, and I'll break everything down. I just want to show you one by one, sort of everything here.
Cool.
We're creating a dummy, and we're saving the URL, and we're saying the text equals JavaScript bubbles value. And so if we're passing in a list, what this is doing every single time that a new value is passed in through that function, which when we're dealing with upload care is almost instantaneously, very, very quick, this triggers. And we're just taking one value, even though it's passing a list, because this is going to cycle. This is looping without us telling it that it needs to loop. That's just the way it works.
Cool. That's
very
awesome.
Cool. Now, here's where it gets a little awesomer, only because we're integrating the upload care API. When we click this trash can button, what we're doing is we're using some regex to extract the UUID, or the ID of the actual file. We go to upload care. We've created this already with our credentials, and we can now delete it the way that we want to off of our storage.
That's great.
So this probably isn't everything you want, but I'd say it is the majority of what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. One of the perks of upload care that I really liked too is the ability to crop videos and stuff. And like, I know that like cropping is not something we even discussed right now. I know that's probably another layer, but that's something that's kind of crucial as well. So I don't really know how to go forward from that, but this is really good progress.
Yeah, we're having fun. I think that the crop feature is actually pretty easy. Where we basically
like I would want to make sure that the images came back obviously cropped in the way they were cropped in the uploader, and images or files, because like if I can somehow make this be like use videos for instead of cover photos, that would be really cool. Like that would be very, very, very cool if I could somehow force that. So
yeah, I'm curious. I don't know how well that would work, because I don't think on this end right now you can crop it, but we can explore that definitely.
Okay.
I do want to show you real
okay.
quick though. So we do have Cheeseball and we have Web here, the two guys right here. If we go ahead and delete this, we're making a call to the API. So now we should not have a Cheeseball web. It should just say Cheeseball transparent logo.
Okay, cool.
And interestingly enough, it doesn't look like that second one deleted, despite the fact we said to delete it. Okay, well, at least we got one to delete. We'll focus on that. I want to look at the crop thing for you. So image cropping works as post-processing via the image processing feature. Original images go to an upload care project. That's us. The crop is applied as the crop image processing operation by injecting its URL. Okay, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. It's going to return.
I'm pretty certain that you're supposed to be able to also crop video. That's just what I think, but
I think it is. I mean, you may be able to. I also am on like that free account, so I don't have everything. But let's see. Does it say? Was it just images or original images?
Grab like the Pexels MP4 and try to mess around with it over here.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and look at that. So let's see if we can say data crop options.
Yeah, no, it says that you can't apparently, which is unfortunate.
Darn, that is sort of a bummer. We're going to go ahead and see if we can add this crop feature.
Well, when I say you can't, I'm using the plugin, right? Like the plugin that I found from Zero Code.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, totally. And so, yeah, it does look like when we add what we want, we say crop done, and then add. That cropped image is the item that is returned.
Okay.
So very neat. Now, what's very interesting is I don't know why it didn't remove the second item.
And I probably wouldn't even like,
Oh,
I know
that's
that we
really
just
why.
had that demo page up for just the sake of like showing it, but really I want this to be as simple and user friendly as possible. So I really just want it to be like somebody clicks their photo with this like upload care CDN pops up, they crop it the way they want, blah blah blah, they click add and it's done. It's uploaded the way that it's supposed to. God bless Mazel Tov, we're moving on, you know?
Yeah. No, it'll be simple. It'll definitely be simple. I want to show you though that it's able to be done, and I can send you a read-only link for you to sort of inspect and to make sure that it really is how you want it. And just going and like the way that it is set, like in this repeating group to show the preview and so on and so forth, you'll probably think of better ways to display this information and have it presentable. I think one of the reasons though, when we click this this button, we're using some basic regex to look at basically the last bit of here. We know that there are 3 slashes, so we'll be able to look after the 3rd slash, and we'll be able to take it up to the 4th slash in order to remedy it. Let's see, because this is the UUID. This is the value that we need to pass in.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think, and I bet it's out there, where we're looking for capture string between 2 characters. What do they have for us here? We will try this out with this. Interestingly enough, there's an easier way to do this. I will go here into my data. I will grab this and I will throw it here. Right now we're searching for brackets. I am looking for, oops. So we can say second item. We'll take this, and it's not going to work probably because it's a forward lookup. Shoot. Try this instead. Like going through here and seeing what people have without the positive lookups. That's the same thing, isn't it? Shoot. No, we need it to be grouped. So I'm thinking maybe we'd be able to take this, trim the first character, and then trim the last character. That seems a little too wild, to be honest. Not as reliable as we probably could get it. This looks exactly like we just had, unfortunately. This is what we're given.
Mhm.
I very much doubt that the API will allow us to do that, but let's see. It does allow us to do it. Perfect. That's what we're passing in then. So we are going to say, when we click this delete button, we are going to be taking that. Item number 2.
Why item number 2?
Because when the list is, when it's like this is the first, it always will be the first, and this is then the second.
Got it.
So item number 2 in this case, we'll go ahead and look at that crazy symbol. So it did delete, actually, believe it or not, and that's because of that regex there. But We'll actually take this file. Let's see, when we add it and then we go back to crop it, does it fix it? It creates another image. I see. Interesting.
That's honestly, if like, that's fine, because I'm gonna have people be updating their images, right? Like, I don't think that's a big
Sure.
deal, is it?
They'll just have to make sure that they delete it. But then in addition to that, and in terms of like setting priority to which image you want as like, say, their profile picture, whatever, you're just going to have to specify that you want it to be their last image. Or their first image. My apologies, their first image.
I'm confused because I would probably just give each photo a link, right?
Yeah, that's right. But I'm not sure about your use case, but I would figure that let's say just as a use case where they're uploading an image for a profile picture, right? So they're going here and they say, you know what, that profile picture is not perfect. I want to crop it again, actually. So let's do that instead. So now,
yeah, maybe I can somehow trigger the delete to happen, right? Like, can I reset it every time or something? Like, I mean, because, okay, so I see that you're showing that's in a repeating group, right? So that's why that's showing that way. But I'm assuming that if I did first item.
So every single time that an image is saved, what we're doing is using this event listener. We're basically saying, listen, and when something is changed, we're going to send it to this function. And this is saying, hello, I am this function.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time a value is passed through me, I'm going to be saving it in the database.
Got it.
So you could probably devise a way to delete the last item. Probably not the most user experience friendly. So if somebody does have a list of items, and you may not even show them a repeating group, you may just show them. Yeah, you may just show them their last image uploaded. That's when you would just specify it is that image, not the list, because this is the multi-uploader.
So UI wise, I would literally just like, okay, picture you're on your Facebook profile, right? You click the little circle on your Facebook profile. This upload care pop-up appears. You click add, and then you look, and then it closes, and then you see the Facebook profile, the picture's updated, boom, done. That's what the UI is going to be.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. So we'll just say first items text, just to preview. I guess it would be last item. So and we'll go ahead and try this out again. Cool. So it's taking that one. We'll go ahead and try let's do this logo over here. We're going to add it. Cool. So it's now the last item.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, we want to adjust it a little bit. Let's make it towards just this here, and then so on and so forth.
Sweet. And then could I delete the list of ones that they actually ended up not using?
It would be through a backend workflow, and you'd have to compare each user and their files. You'd have to look at, does this upload contain this image or this image? And if it contains this image, delete the rest.
Okay.
You can also, so on the page, like you can specify using a bunch of different constraints to look for particular images. So you could save this image, like when we're actually creating a dummy, we'd be able to specify page equals, and then so when you're running that backend workflow, let's say somebody has multiple photos all throughout, you don't want to delete all of their photos. You just want to delete the photos that were uploaded to that page.
Right.
And so that's the way that I would probably do it. Adding those specifics, those values there to be able to make it a little bit more refined.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot to juggle, a lot to look at and deal with for sure.
Gosh, you think uploading a photo and cropping it would be easy, and this I think I've spent the most time on this app doing silly stuff like that. So God, all right. Well, this is really helpful. And I'm gonna let you go back to Zenko, and then if you have time to come back, I'm curious about having fixed aspect ratios for, like, for example, I want someone to be able to, like a square is going to be a circle's profile image, right? So I would have to have it be like a 1:1 ratio and have a fixed ratio for that.
Yeah. And you would just specify it in this right here, data crop. And so we've added these values so that we're able to specify that we want it with these values. But if it's just a 1:1, it'll stay like this, and we won't have the option to freeform it or anything.
Cool. And where would I specify that?
So right on the front end here, when we click this, so this is our HTML code.
Okay.
We would just go and do this, and I'll show you real quickly before I hop to Zenko again. We'll go with this logo. So cool, here we are. We'll click it. And then now we only have a one-to-one.
Okay, cool. So I will have to have the HTML on every, okay, I'm gonna really dive into this and mess with this tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Do you have the chance of clicking on that link and seeing if it works?
For sure. And just username and password, yeah. Oh,
That's right, yeah.
okay, well, sorry, I hope I didn't like blow up your, yeah.
I'll have to probably edit the audio out or something.
So I did get the link to the app but not the editor. So I would like to explore the editor if possible.
Yeah, let me talk to Tanya about that and I'll get you those credentials if possible. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep, no worries. Glad I was able to assist you with that.
Yeah, thanks.
And now we are going back to Zenko. You have any other questions for us? Zenko, Paige and Zenko, are you there?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries.
I was mute, yeah. All right. I was able to send the email, but however, I think for every input, I'd have to do the search of the dispatches
That's correct. Yeah.
to construct it. There is another problem. Every dispatch of email has a confirmation link as well. And I'm not sure. I wanted to quickly show you how it looks. This is really why I was wondering if I can't do the dispatch itself as in a backend workflow to send all this information at once. It'll be pretty hectic. So I was just looking for an easier way out. But should I'll show you the backend workflow?
Yeah. It'll help me understand everything.
Okay. Okay. So here, before we send an email, we create the dispatch confirmation. But for this, I do need the dispatch part of it. I do need the whole dispatch. And then the related truck, of course, and the trucks. And then the dispatch confirmation has 3 statuses: pending, accepting, or deny, because they have a choice. In the email here, I'm using the type dispatch. And right now for all of these, we would have to search for dispatches. Every one of them would have to search for them. So it's kind of, I think, quite complicated. And then this would be sending the links to accept or deny. I was just wondering if we could incorporate the dispatch, but I guess because it's a different data type, it's not possible because they're in 2 different repeating groups.
No, we could still do that. It's just the parameters for your backend workflow. We're going to be passing in those two data types. And the only reason we need the truck driver is to send him an email. Everything else, though, is through the dispatch, right?
Everything else is through the dispatch, yes.
Yeah. So in fact, we could even, from what I'm understanding here, it looks like use this API workflow dispatch driver. It
Yes.
doesn't look like this is a recursive workflow.
No,
Now let's humor me though. Let's go ahead and create a new one. Let's go ahead and copy that dispatch driver and let's paste it. Okay. So we're going to change the name to dispatch driver single on the other one, on the one that says copy. It's right next to it. Yep.
Right. We're gonna change it to
Dispatch driver underscore single.
single, okay. Right,
And then we're going to scroll down on this properties panel. And we are going to add a new key.
okay. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking more. Yeah.
This is just going to be truck or individual or a user or whoever you want it to be.
Yeah, because I think we have a truck already.
Yep. And so this type, now we're going to specify what we're actually passing. And it would be a truck, I suppose, right?
Yes, it will be that parent group's truck, yeah.
Yep. So we should just be able to type in truck. Or whatever that data type's value is, or search for it.
Truck.
Cool. Yeah. So now let's go back to your front end workflow.
Front end, okay.
So instead we have that current send email. We don't have to do that. We can actually just create now a schedule to this backend workflow.
Yeah, okay.
So click here to add an action. And we are going to schedule an API workflow.
Yeah, a single one, right? Yeah.
That's right. Now we're just going to find that API workflow.
All right.
Okay. And it's going to be the same as just about everything else. We do want it to be right now in this case, right?
Yeah, it'd be current time, yes. But this is the problem too. I did try to do this now. Do we have
Okay.
to search all of them now or what?
Well, there's two ways of doing this. Go to your send email in step 2.
Okay, just a second, clear this.
We can copy search for dispatches first item materials material name. We can copy that expression.
Mhm.
And if we want, we can put that, we can paste it in all of these. And then the last thing that we need to change is really just the item that we're sending, right? So we're not sending in the materials, we're sending in the date. So if we go back up there, yeah, and we click on, yeah, let's click on materials.
So
Interesting that, what's
yeah,
the
it
error?
doesn't do it, yeah.
What is the error? Do you mind looking at the 15 errors you have? One of them is going to tell us why Matt L is not working.
Yeah.
So it should be a material site, and instead we're just sending them a material.
Oh yeah, this is load at. Hold on a second. Let me just find material. Yes, here it should work here.
Now, so let's get rid of materials material and just delete material name. And then click out of it.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's one way of doing it, right? And so you can go through and you can paste. Otherwise, if we go back to our backend workflow, we can get rid of date, material, truck, blah, 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 blah. And we could just say we're passing in two things. We're passing in truck and we're passing in dispatch. So if you don't mind, let's go ahead and let's go back to the backend workflow. And so we can get rid of all of those parameters, date, material, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice.
We only need to keep in truck.
We need the individual truck, right? Yeah. Yeah. And the dispatch we'll need, would we?
That's correct. Yep, we need these two things. And the dispatch contains the material site, the job site, the dump site, correct?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yes, that's what I was kind of hoping to be able to guess. Go from here. Truck, we don't need. Ah,
Okay, cool. Not a problem. Oh yeah, you can undo that real quick.
Yeah.
Sweet. Now let's go back to your front end.
I'm sorry, let's go back to
Let's go back to the front end here.
front.
And so now we're going to be, you should be able to paste that expression.
Yeah, I'll do a search for that.
And then it's just going to be first item. So delete all the up until first item.
Yeah. Okay. And this is going to be parent group's truck.
Perfect. Now get rid of step 2. We can delete send email. And now we'll go right back to our backend workflow. In fact, you can click on one of those errors actually. Click on any of those errors. And it'll bring us to where we need to be. Yep. And so now,
Wait, truck.
so we're passing in truck. So we need to do truck individual.
Yep.
And then that should be good. That should be everything we need. And now step 2.
Right.
Now this is where you're going to set all of the information that we're passing in. So 2 is going to be to truck user. It's going to be a truck individual. Yep.
Email, right?
Yeah, driver email.
Right. Okay.
And then all of the body information is
Mhm.
yeah, you're just going to basically be using that passed in dispatch.
So here we'll be using dispatch.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Yep. Whoever's name and then so on and so forth for the body.
Yeah, this, I'll be able to fill out this, but that, yeah, at least I have the, well, here, yeah, we have the dispatch now, right?
That's right. That's exactly it. Yep.
So this was the whole point. Then I can reset this, yeah.
Yep. But that's how you'll do it on the backend workflow.
Yeah, I prefer that, yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Great, thanks, Cameron. Now let me work on that tonight. And
All right. Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Let us know if you need anything else and we'll be able to assist you for sure.
yeah, let me put this together. I think this is going to be good. Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very glad.
Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah, no worries. All right. So we're going to wrap up and we're going to head to after office hours. Basically, we turn off the cameras, and if you have any sensitive information, we'll help you out. You can always join us on pronocoders.com with a developer membership. And until next time, thanks for tuning in and letting us help you solve your issues. Take care.